Hello, everybody. I wanted to take a couple moments here and I wanted to talk about creating goals and measuring goals. How do we create goals? How do we effectively measure them? And how can we say that we really accomplished one? So, the first thing I wanted to start off by saying is I love this topic because it reminds me personally of how I run my classroom as a teacher. As a teacher, you have to create assessments, and then before you create the assessment, you have to know where your students are. You have to know what your end goal is. And then you have to know the steps you're going to take in between the goal and where you're starting. So that exact same principle applies to your fitness goals. And one thing that I like to say, or I like to think of, something that I've always when I wanted to create a new goal, I always think of a time in my life that is further away. Maybe it's 2 years, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's 5 years. Okay, and I ask myself, who do I want to be at that point in my life? Who do I want to be at that point in my life? And for the last 3 years, maybe, probably 3 years ago, that person for me was myself as a bride, right? And ladies, you can relate to this. On your wedding day, you want to feel like an absolute rock star, and that was one thing for me that I knew was in the future. So I was who do I want to be at that point in my life? I want to be strong, I want to be confident. Those are two things. And then within those two things, strong and confident, they kind of cohesively go together, okay? Being strong comes from putting not all of your energy, but a lot of your energy into your physical fitness, and then a lot of your energy into your healthy habits. Okay, so both of those I created to be important in my life. And then as time goes on, you begin to love the lifestyle that makes you feel good. So it kind of works in a way that it does really benefit you. So that's the first thing I want you to do. I want you to pick an event. Maybe it's a wedding, maybe it's your wedding, maybe it's a friend's wedding, maybe it's a vacation, or maybe it's, in the next year I'll be promoted at my job and I want to bring my best self to that scenario. So pick something for you, whatever that looks like. Maybe you're an athlete and you have season starting in September, or, pick a date that's at least 6 months away and ask yourself who you want to be. And that event has to be so important to you that, it can really motivate you to make choices between now and then that will allow you to be that person that you want to be. Right now, for me, if Colin and I start having kids the next couple years, well, what kind of mom do I want to be? What kind of pregnancy do I want to have? Those are things that I'm thinking about that, that's why I take vitamins every morning. That's why I choose vegetables, because that will make that whole process smoother, and it would just be solid, and I'm sure you can relate to what I'm trying to say. But yeah, so pick an event. And so going up to that event, we have to create goals. And as you have already experienced during this academy, I'm having you identify weekly goals that tie to numbers. That is such a key when it comes to not only making goals, but how you're going to track them. Your goals have to have a number attached to them, so that way you can say, I'm effectively doing this. And, sometimes your goals can be by week, they can be by month. Weeks are easier, I think, because my dog sees a bird. Weeks, I think, are easier because they're like a shorter time period, so you can restart the next week. So, if you're making a goal throughout a month, you can do that. You can absolutely do that. It just might be a little bit difficult if you're at week 2 and you're like, oh shoot, I need to do all of these things in the next 2 weeks. Charlie! I was hoping he wouldn't bark. And there's something in my eye. I'm sorry. So make those goals and attach numbers to them. Within fitness, a lot of themes as you go throughout your fitness journey are going to be variety and gradually lifting heavier. This is really important. I feel like a lot of times, especially as females, it's really easy to think, I don't want to lift heavy. That's going to result in a, me being bulky or having muscle that I do not want. I think a lot of times we have that fear, but you really don't know what the outcome can be unless you truly pursue it wholeheartedly. And I had to overcome that too. If you've truly never lifted heavier over a long period of time, like progressively lift heavier, progressive overload is what it's called, then you truly don't know how your body can really react to that. So lifting heavier is important. Doing a variety. Oh, Charlie has one of my nice shoes. I'll be right back. No. So progressive overload and variety are really important. So variety in the reps that you're doing, you should have heavy days, you should have light days. And, week by week, you should be doing the same exercises. Not that it has to be the same forever, but there should be a selective amount of exercises, being like the squat or the deadlift or the bench press, that you should be doing weekly. And then focusing on your form and then lifting heavier within those. That's going to create a scenario where you can become stronger and really reach those goals. And I think there's a time and a place for cardio too. I think if you enjoy cardio and that's a way that you can challenge yourself, I think that's an effective option. I also think that applying it to one's schedule, to be a couple sessions a week, is also effective when you're trying to reach your fat loss goals. I don't think it's 100% necessary. There's a lot of different ways that you can lose body fat. At the end of the day, it comes down to being in a calorie surplus over an extended amount of time while challenging yourself physically. They're both important, but time has a huge factor, and I know, and that's the patience part, and that's what's the most challenging, honestly. But you have to trust yourself throughout your journey and know that every choice does truly matter when it comes to reaching those goals. So yes, I think those are important considerations to make when it comes to making goals and tracking goals. And making a plan is also a huge part of that. So you have your end goal, you have your assessment, right? You have your end goal, you have your starting place. You have checkpoints in between now and the end that are attached to numbers. And within that, there's a plan, right? There's a plan. So, being able to say, how am I going to play with my calories throughout this time? And those are conversations I'm going to have with you in regards to how to orient that. And then what does my fitness look like from now until then? And I covered a couple of those principles previously. So I hope this is helpful. Have a great day.